Hey there, welcome to the workshop. So today I'm going to make this really simple raised garden bed using only cedar fence pickets that you could buy at your local hardware store for a fraction of the cost as opposed to buying typical cedar boards in the store. Now these things do have dog ears, so to begin with this project we're actually going to have to cut those off, and I'm cutting them pretty much right to where the dog ear starts, and we're going to use the rest of that board as the length of the garden box. And so for one box, we're going to actually cut 8 of these to be whatever they end up being on the length. And then we're also going to cut 6 of them to be 23-inch pieces. Now I realize that I'm using a miter saw, and you can definitely just use a circular saw, and right here I'm demonstrating how to do that. Now I do go in depth in another video, which is going to be linked here at the top of this one right now. So now with all of the shorter boards cut, I stack these up to get a proper height, because then I'm going to cut pieces of wood, 2x4 cedar pieces that are actually the same as this height. I ended up using some pine that I had scrap laying around, but cedar would be your better choice to avoid rot. And now it's time to just assemble them, and it's very simple. Going to end up putting 3 on the ground, lay your piece of wood underneath it, and square it up. I'm just kind of eyeballing it as square. You can use the triangle if you'd like to. And then screw them in with some deck screws. These deck screws have a coating that will help it fight against the rust, so they shouldn't rust through all the years. And then at this point, it's a lot of repeating processes. So doing the same thing on the other side, then I'm going to duplicate this entire piece on another one, and then the ends we'll tackle here in a minute or two. Alright, so for these sides, I think that it was a much easier idea to pre-screw these screws into the wood so that you're not sitting there holding them up in the horizontal position. Now using my special helper, she was holding it up. And this is once again just kind of being eyeballed here on the side for the top. And then this was very important to make sure it's square, because if these boards are not square with each other, then this whole box won't really be nice and square with itself. You don't want to rely on the ground, because obviously the ground is not going to be level, and this board, you want it to be level. So we decided to not only make one, but to make 2 of these, because we're not doing a traditional garden this year. This was the option we wanted to go with. And so I'm just wanting to make sure that we've got ample space around it to walk around, and as you can see, to mow as well. So I laid down some landscaping fabric, which will just help keep the weeds from wanting to grow up. It's very important to level this thing up, and I just used some old bricks laying around my house to try to level this thing up, dig down into the dirt at times that I needed to, just so that this thing sat nice and square before we decided to continue lining this thing with the landscaping fabric. The reason for this fabric is mainly to just keep the dirt from having direct contact on the wood. While cedar is definitely resilient to rot, I did want to help prevent it a little bit, and also to prevent any of the dirt from escaping between the boards. And once the liner was set in place, it was time to go ahead and fill it with some dirt, and you're ready to go. So at this point, we are waiting to plant the plants, and you can do as many of these as you want. I do think this is a really good project to involve the family, and it's also a good thing that's going to last you many years. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, like, and comment down below if you decided to make this as well. But thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time right here in the workshop.